Let's get the sentiment of business leaders on this proposed granular lockdowns. On the phone is Sergio Ortiz-Luis Jr. He's the president of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines. Good morning, sir. Thanks for taking our call.
Good morning, Mai, and good morning to all our people who are watching the show.
First of all, sir, your thoughts on the pocket lockdowns that will be put in place in Metro Manila beginning tomorrow. What are the sentiments of employers on this, and how will this encourage more businesses to reopen?
Well, you know very well that we have been against the lockdown of big communities, and therefore the idea of a gradual lockdown is a welcome one. No? If it will encourage more people to open up their business and more customers to be able to go out. We don't know the rules yet, so we don't know how many of the companies will be able to open, and how many of the customers that can go and patronize their places. However, it's better than the big lockdowns that we have, and hopefully this can turn out to be a good step to be able to normalize our economy.
Well, of course, this is a very there is a very delicate balance in reopening the economy and still keeping people safe. Many experts are skeptical, though, about this approach, considering the very big jump in the daily cases of COVID.
Well, many of those who are recommending big lockdowns really are just looking at the picture on the one side. No, they're saying it's health against economy. No, it's not that way. It's health against economy plus health, because a lot of people get die or get sick on other diseases, and because of the lockdowns. No, and if we don't have the ayudas, that makes people go out more, even if there is a lockdown, no? Because they're looking for a livelihood. So the granular lockdown will be of help, especially if it is implemented the right way. No? As much as possible, we would like to see the granules being smaller. No? Like, for instance, if there are 100 houses in the street and they lock down the street, what for? Why can't each barangay, for instance, have their own isolation center, or be able to bring those who are in the lockdown areas to hospital, have them tested, no? And let's improve the expensive tracing by using by suspending or giving authority to the implementers, the barangay captains, the mayors, to identify those who are infected, so that people can avoid them, and they will not be able to go out, and they can be monitored more, so that we can make granules smaller and smaller, rather than para shotgun pa rin, even if granule, if big areas are affected. And it will be very difficult for the local governments to give ayudas to all of them for a long while. So it's important that people are able to work, as many as possible, and that the help can be given to those who are affected by the lockdowns, even granular. So let's limit the area of the granular lockdowns by identifying those who are and suspending the Data Privacy Act, even at least on those instances. That will be decided by the implementers if there is a need, so that they can. It will not affect so many people unnecessarily.
Well, you mentioned na sana po nga may mga isolation centers na, no, for each barangay, pero very limited pa nga yung mga isolation centers where COVID patients can be quarantined. So And in the absence po of very clear guidelines on how the granular lockdowns will be implemented, will businesses enforce the same protocols or may dagdag na safety measures pa po?
Well, business has always been very careful about this. No, what people are forgetting is that the infection does not really come mostly on the workplace. It's going and coming and going out of the workplace. No, for instance, why cannot we improve the mass transportation, especially now? More people will be going out because of our GCQ classification. So the transportation, mass transportation should be improved. There are no classes. A lot of people are not working. Why are we still having a problem with mass transportation? And they always say, meron pang mga libreng sakay, carousel, but these are becoming to be super spreaders. And 90% of our enterprises are micro. They cannot afford to have shuttles. And even the big ones that have shuttle, they're complaining that they cannot go from house to house. So there has to be pick-up points. And yet, many of the people are not able to go to pick-up points because there are no mass transportation. And yet, we have been saying since last year, stop all this experiment on modernization of jeep, modernization of truck, of buses, and arranging all these groups of just let everybody who has franchise before the pandemic be on the street. Even that will not be enough because of the social distancing. So what is the problem? We were hoping that in the zona that would be something that was to be taken up. Why is it that bus transportation after 1.5 years has not been solved? And yet, in EDSA, the traffic, in spite of there is no classes, in spite of people are not able to work, why is it that the traffic in EDSA is as bad as Christmas time before pandemic?
Yes.
I don't understand that. So the implementers should be able to address this.
Okay.
The other thing that they have to address really is we have been also saying since last year that no let up or additional rooms for hospitals, for the building up of repurposing barangay halls or schools for isolation area, and it's not enough. So we should not be worried too much on the numbers of positive because we know that 96% of that it does not need to be hospitalized. No? Only 4% is in Metro Manila. What is that? 4,000 and of the positive, and then 4% of that will be the one who will be severe.
Yes.
Those we have to worry.
Yes.
So the balancing should not be on the basis of 20,000 or worrying about 24,000. Those are just numbers that we're worried because we did not prepare for the rooms, and I hope that they already pay the hospitals and the frontliners, so that would be another problem.
Yes, very important points raised there, but unfortunately, sir, that's all the time we have. Thank you again for joining us this morning, ECO President Sergio Ortiz-Luis Jr.